Summer is here, it's now in full swing, and with summer comes spending a lot of time outside. I know I find myself spending more time outside in the summer just because the days are longer. I also find myself going to the beach or hanging out by the pool. And when you do that, you have to make sure that you're keeping your skin protected. I mean, that's one of the biggest things we do. We pull out the sunscreen and protect our skin. But do we think about our hair? Hi, I'm Leah from the Relaxed Go Beauty channel, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you my 7 summer hair tips for relaxed hair. Before I start sharing with you my tips, I do want to let you know that you can subscribe to the Relaxed Go Beauty channel. It's easy, it's free. All you do is you hit the red button down below that says subscribe, and then you become a subscriber of the Relaxed Go Beauty channel. Tip number 1 is to keep your hair protected from the sun. So the sun can cause damage to our hair. While it doesn't give it sunburn like we can get with our skin, it does really damage it. It can damage the hair cuticle. It can cause your hair to be dry and brittle and weak. So there are a few ways we can keep our hair protected from the sun. One is to wear some kind of hat or a scarf or some kind of covering over our head, particularly when we're sitting beside the pool, at the beach, or on a boat. I actually prefer a hat like this one. Because it's nice, it's kind of light, it's woven, so there's like holes in it so that I'm able to get some like air and breeze and circulation through it, because otherwise I just get really hot with a hat on my head. But it's also kind of cute and stylish, and it does keep my head, like my face, protected from the sun as well. So another thing you can do is to wear some sunscreen for your hair. Yes, there are products out there that actually have UV protectants in them specifically for your hair. Tip number 2 is to protect your hair before and after swimming. So if you're going to go in the water, then you're going to need some protection for your hair, just like you need protection from the sun. And the thing with this is that chlorine and salt water can do damage to your hair, particularly hair that is relaxed. So when you're trying to protect your hair from the salt water, from the chlorine water, what you're doing is you're basically trying to saturate your hair before you get into the water. So then that way, none of that water that you don't want in your hair, or very little of it, actually gets soaked up by your hair strands, because your hair strands are already soaked with something else that is much better for it. There are several ways that you can saturate your hair before you take that dip into the pool or the ocean, and one of those is to just saturate your hair with fresh water. You can literally like go to, a lot of times when you go to pools, they'll have like showers somewhere you can go, and you can get under the shower and just soak your hair with that water. You can bring your own water. Some people I've seen online will take like a big gallon jug of fresh water with them, and then they'll use that to pour on their hair. You might also have like can use a spray bottle with fresh water. If you're taking bottled water with you, just take one of those bottles and saturate your hair with that. You can also use a conditioner. I just use a cheap rinse out conditioner a lot of times. The one that I used when I went to the beach this last time was, if you can even see it, I don't think so, but it is this from Cantu. It's their Texture Leave and Rinse Out Hydrating Conditioner. It made my hair feel really soft during the time I was at the beach, and then even after. And you can also use like a deep conditioner too if you really want to get down and really like condition your hair. It's really just about making sure your hair strands are full and saturated with something that is going to help benefit it more so than the chlorine or salt water that it could possibly soak up. Now that's what you can do before you swim, but after you've been in the pool, after you've been in the ocean, what do you do with your hair to keep it protected? Because now, even though your hair strands were protected beforehand and didn't soak up a lot of that chlorine and salt water, there's still some of it sitting on your hair. So what do? A couple of things that I like to do is I will take some fresh water and I will rinse my hair. I did this after I went to the beach, particularly because we were going out to eat. So it was like an hour drive from where we were to get back home, plus we were going out to eat. So it took another 2.5 or so hours from the time I got out of the ocean to the time I actually got in the shower. So I just took a bottle of fresh water and just poured it over my head and just let my hair just be rinsed. And so that's one of the things you can do, just rinse out your hair. The second thing you'll want to do is make sure that you clarify your hair. Now this is definitely a step that you take whether or not you've done the freshwater rinse before. you step into the shower or not. So this is the clarifying your hair. It's something that you do no matter what after you've taken that dip into the ocean or the pool. I have gone between using a sulfate clarifying shampoo and then also just a deep cleansing sulfate free shampoo. It just really depends on what your hair likes, what your hair will need, and how much chlorine or salt water you feel like your hair has absorbed and how much you need to get out. So tip number 3 is to co-wash. Now, don't get this confused with what I just talked about with what you do after you get out of the pool, after you get out of the ocean. Co-washing is not going to help you get rid of all the chlorine and the salt water that your hair has after you've gone swimming. So co-washing is not for that instance. It's really more so to use in place of like your regular shampoo, or if you find yourself doing midweek washes. Tip number 4 is to retain moisture. In the summertime, staying moisturized, staying hydrated is really important, and there are several ways that you can do that. And one is to drink a lot of water, so then that way you are being hydrated from the inside out. I had to make sure I was saying that right. But yeah, making sure you're hydrated on the inside, and then that will be, you'll see the difference on your scalp, on your hair. You can also do things like moisturizing and sealing every day, finding a moisturizer and a sealant, whether that's a natural oil or some kind of serum that really just makes your hair feel nice and very hydrated and soft is great to do. Some other things that you can do to make sure that your hair is retaining moisture is to pre-poo with some kind of nice conditioner, whether it's a deep conditioner or a rinse out conditioner. You can also do hot oil treatments. I also will just make sure that I deep condition my hair, and sometimes if I'm doing a midweek wash, I will also deep condition during my midweek wash and then my regular wash as well. So I'm getting 2 deep conditioning treatments in a week. And then you can also use a sulfate free shampoo instead of a sulfate shampoo, or you can rotate in more co-washes within your summer hair routine. Speaking of deep conditioning, that's actually tip number 5. So deep conditioning isn't something that's just unique to summertime. It's not something that you should be doing just in the summertime. It's really something that you should be doing all year round. But I wanted to include it on this list of summer hair tips because you can find a lot of great benefits from deep conditioning within your summer hair routine. I mean, overall, deep conditioning just keeps your hair in its best state possible. It helps to hydrate your hair. It helps to strengthen your hair. Overall, it just keeps your hair healthy and can help your hair better withstand whatever summer decides to throw at it. So deep conditioning every time you wash your hair is your best bet, although if you're doing midweek washes, it might end up being too much for you, or you just don't have the time for it. That's totally fine. I am a person who I'm just like, I have to deep condition my hair minimum 1 time a week. And if I miss a deep condition, my hair lets me know about it. Using moisturizing deep conditioners in the summer is a great bet just because they really help with that hydration and really making sure that your hair just is able to be more moisturized as you're going about your day in the summer heat. So when you deep condition, it's also great to use some kind of heat to help the hair cuticle really absorb the deep conditioner a lot more. And so different ways that you can do that is to use a deep conditioning cap. I have one from this company called Hothead. It's really great. You can also put a plastic cap on your head and sit under a hooded dryer. You can also put a plastic cap on your head. Some people will even take a hot or warm towel and wrap that around the plastic cap and just kind of seal in all of that nice moisture. And then you can also do something that I've done as well, where I will put deep conditioner on my head and I will go out and I will go out and exercise. I will go out and take a walk. I will cut my grass. And usually when I'm doing that kind of deep conditioning, it happens when I'm doing my deep conditioning as a pre-poo treatment. So it's before I shampoo. So then I'm letting my body heat really be the heat that I'm using to really open up my hair cuticle and let that deep conditioner just sink right in. Tip number 6 is to style your hair without heat. So yeah, using heat when you deep condition is a good thing. Using heat to style your hair isn't necessarily a totally bad thing, but when you do it a lot, it can be a really bad thing. I mean, your hair is already experiencing, high heat as soon as you step outside the door, particularly if you live in Florida like me. Your hair might be experiencing a lot of exposure to the sun, which can dry it out. So by using heat tools to style your hair, you're just adding more heat and more times and reasons for your hair to just dry out, become brittle, and start breaking off. Like, you just don't want to tempt fate. When I look on Instagram during the summer, I tend to see a lot of ladies with relaxed hair wearing non-heat styles for their hair. So instead of them like blowing out their hair or using flat irons or curling irons to style it, I see a lot of braid outs, I see twist outs, I see them actually doing a lot of buns, or just wearing their hair, like air drying their hair and just letting their hair just hang and have some kind of sometimes loose waves in it, which looks really nice. And so you end up kind of like with beachy, summery kind of hair when you're not doing those heat styles. And plus, you're also helping your hair to stay more hydrated and to, of course, not dry out. And tip number 7 kind of goes in line with tip number 6. It's about using protective styles. Now, protective styles come in 2 different kinds. You have your short-term protective styles, and then you have your long-term protective styles. And a lot of times I feel like people get them mixed up. I know I did. So long-term protective styles are things where your hair is completely, totally covered, and you wear that style for a longer period of time. So some long-term protective styles you can do during the summer are wearing wigs. While that doesn't seem like it's a long-term protective style, it's actually something where you can just braid your hair, like do cornrows, and just let your hair be in cornrows for several weeks while you're wearing a wig. So that's kind of why it's considered a long-term protective style. But then you can also do weaves, you can do like box braids and other kind of braids like that, where your hair isn't completely exposed and you're wearing that style for a longer period of time, so you're not manipulating your hair day in and day out. Short-term protective styles are ones where you are keeping like your ends protected, but your entire head isn't protected necessarily from the elements. So that can be where you're wearing your hair in like buns. You might even do like a French braid and do like a tuck up under. When I go to like the beach or the pool, or I'm just spending time outside, I tend to lean towards short protective styles. I don't really care for having something where I can't have control of my hair. It's just my own personality there. So I will do a lot of buns. I might do like goddess braids or my version of French braids, because I can't really French braid, but basically things that will keep my hair sort of in a style in place. Sometimes I might be able to wear the style like overnight and then wear my hair like that the next day, but that usually happens very rarely. But it's something that's just a low manipulation style, and it just keeps your hair, it keeps your ends protected. So those are my summer hair tips for relaxed hair. Those are ways that you can keep your hair protected when you're spending time outside, spending time out in the sun this summer. Hopefully you'll be able to take one or more of these tips and be able to integrate them into your hair routine this summer and be able to keep your hair protected so you can stay on a good path with your healthy hair journey and not have to do remedial work when summer is over. If you like this video, if you learned something, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up, and also be sure to share it with people that you like, whether that's sending it to them via email or posting it in your social feeds. And if you have any additional summer hair care tips that you'd like to share, things that you have done with your hair during the summer that you found have helped it to really flourish and stay protected, or if you have any questions about any of the tips that I talked about, please leave all of that in the comments below, because I do love reading the comments and I do love learning from you additional hair tips. So thanks for watching this video on the Relax Go Beauty channel, and I will see you in my next one.